How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. We just hit a huge milestone. It's actually quite bad. I want to talk about that, but this shows why you probably want to be looking at Bitcoin or maybe adding some Bitcoin at this point. And I will say right off the bat, I was going to include this later, but let me show you this. And I'm actually editing the video right now. I wanted to reshoot this just to show this. I had someone that commented on one of my last videos, just sold BTC, going to buy back the dip. That is dangerous. I know a lot of people are very bearish on the market right now, very bearish on Bitcoin in general. We bounced off $40,000 before. We could easily bounce off $40,000 again and never see these levels. I'm not saying that's necessarily going to happen, but take a long-term approach, and I'll explain why you want to look long-term in this video, because there's a lot of reasons to be bullish. If you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on that bell notification underneath the video so you can see future videos just like this one. Also, I hope you're having a great Friday night and a good weekend. One last video for the day. I just wanted to post it because there are some interesting things that have been happening recently. Again, if you don't mind hitting subscribe, I appreciate that. There's also a link down there to Margex in case you want to try leverage trading. You can sign up, deposit. It just takes a few minutes. I actually had a couple good trades myself, open a position, and within a few hours was able to take 25% profit. So definitely check that out underneath the video. There's also a link there to HGAccess. There have been so many people that have been wanting in on this, especially after we told people about Satoshi VM, and then it went and 100x. Some people were able to get into a lottery system, and even if you bought when it launched, you could still have a 10x. We also talked about Inspect. We talked about Myro as well, which is up 80% in the last 7 days, but we talked about it, I believe, when it was about 1/10 the size. I could be wrong on that, but if I remember right, that's when we talked about it. So definitely check those out underneath the video. Now, we just hit a huge milestone. The U.S. national debt hit $34 trillion. Wow. That's awesome, right? No, that sucks. We hit $34 trillion in national debt. Debt per citizen, $101,000. Debt per taxpayer, $264,000. Interest on debt, $732,000. Defense war, $851,000. Social Security, $1.4 trillion. Medicare, Medicaid, $1.7 trillion. If you include all the stuff that we will need to pay, unfunded debt and interest, we're nearing $100 trillion in debt. That's huge. The other thing is savings per family, $11,000. The savings per family is less than the total interest per adult. So, I mean, there are multiple adults per family. That's just nuts. We're just in a deep hole. I've talked to people before that had student loan debt, that had credit card debt, stuff like that. There's nothing like the U.S. national debt. Now, I have seen some people from the government, from large institutions ask, like, okay, well, we're in all this debt. Is this going to be a problem? And they've said no, because the U.S. can print their way out of it. That's crazy. That's why a lot of people like the idea of Bitcoin, because it is scarce. It is finite. Even if the debt continues to go up, we're going to have more and more dollars printed, and then people are going to go buy something scarce with it, like Bitcoin, right? Even if Bitcoin's down a little bit today or yesterday, long term, still the best asset that you can hold. Of course, there's volatility with that, but it's the best performing asset almost every single year. 3 out of every 4 years is the best performing asset, and it makes sense. Now, I talked about Satoshi VM before. I talked about Myro before. These are both hitting all-time highs. I mean, Satoshi VM just launched yesterday, but still, I mean, it's hitting all-time highs today at $15. It's exploding. Myro's exploding. Bitcoin's down, but when you look at the broader market, when you look at traditional markets, it's actually quite bullish. The S&P 500 just closed at the highest point ever. This is the highest point it's closed forever, but it It was around this point about 2 years ago. Now we just passed it. We're up 1.47% over the last, 2 years here. And that is a good sign. I mean, even for crypto, if the general markets, if the traditional markets, S&P 500, NASDAQ, all those are doing well, that is overall good for crypto because people will take money from those investments. And as they make more and more money, they might want to go riskier, right? When the general markets are doing better, people feel richer. They feel like maybe they want to take a little bit more risks. When people aren't doing well in the market, they're very careful about putting more money in the market. We also know the Fed is likely to lower rates this year, which will definitely cause some money flowing into riskier assets. Now, in Bitcoin, right, we had a pullback recently. A lot of people just look at Bitcoin in US dollars. But as you can see here, if you compare it to other currencies, it could be at all-time highs. So in this currency, Argentine peso, which has over 100% inflation, well, Bitcoin's like 6x what it's ever been. Even since last bull run, it's up like 6x. Now, I will say, I don't know what's going on here. It was like, 2x, 3x? And then all of a sudden there was a day where it just spiked up, like doubled. So I'm not sure what's happening there, but I looked at multiple places and it showed the same thing. So, we continue to value it in US dollars, but it's important to look at other currencies. And sorry if that was not showing before because I was in the way. But you can see there, just hitting all-time highs. And it's not just Argentina. There are a handful of currencies where it's hitting all-time highs or even closer maybe than the US dollar. Now, if you think Bitcoin's experiencing a pullback, take a look at the Bitcoin miners. The Bitcoin miners pretty much are like leverage plays on Bitcoin. They go up faster than Bitcoin. They go down faster than Bitcoin. They're down, like the whole market cap is down 50% from local highs in 2 weeks. Imagine if Bitcoin went all the way back down to 25,000. That's like the equivalent of what just happened. And look at those falls. I will say, Bitcoin miners are interesting to me. They print money essentially when Bitcoin goes up, but hash rate has been going up. And that's great for the network, but it means that each individual miner probably makes less money. Also, fees for like ordinals have gone down, which means that the miners are getting less money. And just in general, we have the Bitcoin halving coming up, which is tricky to value a company when you know that their revenue is going to be cut in half in a day 4 months from now. So it's a volatile thing. I have some minor positions, but I haven't gone really heavy on miners. I want to cover this too. I mean, this is an interesting wallet. This is one of the top 30 wallets, maybe top 50. And they're buying. I mean, all these buys, 50 of these buys are from today alone. This has to be some kind of bot account or something. This has to be controlled by a bot because, I mean, look at this stair step down all the way down, then up. It looks very robotic, and there's so many transactions for all random amounts. It is interesting, though, because they did just start from literally zero in September. They started from zero in September and have bought. They're actually down 400 million, but they're still buying right now. Now, of course, there are times where it sells off and pulls back, and then they buy more. But it's just interesting to see all the different strategies, how different people go about buying Bitcoin, right? Like I said here, zero balance. Or a quarter of a Bitcoin for months. That's all they had in this wallet. So it's interesting that compared to some of the other wallets I've shown you where they just buy in big chunks, or there's one wallet that I've shown before. It's around the top 200 now, and they just buy 15 to 20 Bitcoin every single day like clockwork. It has to be someone that's just really consistent. And, they tell you to dollar cost average into something like the S&P 500 because it's always going to all-time highs eventually, right? No matter how bad the pullback is, you usually come out ahead if you DCA and take a long-term approach. That is, I think, the same thing as Bitcoin, right? There's this battle right now between sellers and buyers. Bitcoin miners are dumping to shore up some cash, I'm guessing, for the Bitcoin halving. There are also just GBTC selling so much. But on the other hand, we have Tether that's buying. Tether bought 8,888 Bitcoin recently. There's actually a wallet that I've seen that bought that too. So I'm curious. I'm assuming those might be the same wallets there. I'll have to do a little bit of research after this is done. But we know some entities are buying a lot, and it makes sense, right? Like we said earlier, national debt at an all-time high. If you made 500K every day, $500,000, since the Great Pyramids were built, you would have less than half of what the U.S. government has borrowed since June. Think about this another way. If you had made $1 million every day since the Great Pyramids were built, thousands and thousands of years ago, you would have about a little bit less than the government has borrowed since June. 6 months, 7 months. So yeah, you might want to stack some Bitcoin. Of course, not financial advice. Do your own research. If you want to trade Bitcoin or trade other cryptocurrencies, I'm actually talking to them about adding Satoshi VM because I know a lot of people might want to trade this. You can check out the link to Margex underneath the video. Not sure yet about Satoshi VM, but they did not say no. They said that they're going to check and do some research, talk to the team. So definitely check that out underneath the video. There's also a link to HGAaccess. I appreciate everyone watching. I really do. I hope you all have a great weekend. We have a couple fun videos coming out. One is going to be a review of a Bitcoin space heater. It's like an at-home space heater that I got about a month and a half ago. And I did a review to show you how much you could make from it. And I am giving a little discount code as well. It's an affiliate. So I'm going to have that video coming out. I'm going to do a trading tutorial or a trading video on Margex. And then I'll, of course, make some other videos as well, I'm sure. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Be on the lookout for those. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.